there, happy Saturday. I'm Carolyn Ryan. We are coming to you live on day 2 of the Georgia GOP State Convention in beautiful Jekyll Island, Georgia. Of course, I'm here with Vernon Jones, the one and only Vernon Jones. He obviously running to be the next governor of the state of Georgia, and he just got off the stage just a little while ago where he made his first speech at a GOP convention, and he hit it out of the park. Welcome.
Thank you. And it is, I tell you, it is beautiful Jekyll Island.
It is.
This has been kind of, I don't know how to explain this. You know, it's my first GOP convention, and here I am here as a gubernatorial candidate to be the next governor of the state of Georgia. And the amount of love and support that we've seen, it's been phenomenal. I mean, I'm speechless. I'll let you do all the talking. I'm
speechless. No,
it
is. It's been phenomenal, and everybody here has been so gracious, and the folks that organized this with the GOP did such a fantastic job. Everybody's been working so hard, the staff, everything, but we can touch on that and more in just a minute. I want to play a quick clip, if we can, of part of your speech, because the one thing I've heard everybody say is the energy. It was such high energy. Let's take a listen. We'll talk about it on the other side.
I'm Granola Jones. I came home to the Granola Party, bringing brand new ideas and brand new opportunities and brand new people. And yes, I'm a former Democrat, but it takes former Democrats to kick those damn rhinos out of this place and lead Georgia and to lead this nation. I'm prepared to lead.
What a moment that was.
Was that the governor?
That was the future governor.
I must have been the governor.
How did you feel up there? What was that like?
You know what? I went into a zone. I can't even remember being there. All I know is you go up, lights on, camera, action, go, and everything that's in my heart and everything's in my mind. Of course, you know, I don't have any handwritten speeches. It just comes out. And why does it come out? Because I know how I feel. I know that things that I've shared with other people, how they're feeling, and I just want to call it as it is. I want to call balls and strikes. I'm not trying to make it look pretty. I'm not trying to make it look political. I'm not worried about any walking on the eggshells and the gotcha moments. I guess I'm doing what people do who just want authentic people. They just be themselves. I'm just myself, and it just comes out.
Yeah, and we're looking at video now, and it's just, I mean, people, I don't know, could you tell from up there on the stage how much support you were getting in the crowd? I mean, people had the signs, and they were clapping, and there were so many moments that you had so much support. Did you feel that? Could you hear that?
You know what? I can't see anybody. I mean, I see people, but I can't see anybody because my mind is racing, and all I know is I have something to say, and I just want to get it out, and I want people to understand that I'm not afraid to say it, and that I feel what they're feeling. I feel their frustration. I feel their pain. It's been locked up. We've been a sleeping giant, and where the left has taken this state and taken this country, we can't sit by anymore and get mad at the TV.
Right.
We have to get out there and fight. And you know what I noticed? When I asked who are the first-timers here, that room with the number of first-timers, they've always voted, you know, civically.
Yes.
They did their civic duties to vote. But this is the first time in the history of the GOP that I know of in this state that you have this much participation, and those folks that are here, most of them are new folks, and that is amazing.
That was really an eye-opening moment, because even yesterday as I'm interviewing folks here, I felt the same thing. I kept hearing from people who said, I wasn't political before last year. You know, they're busy raising their families, they're busy working and building a career, and now how many first-timers here at this GOP convention, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells you, one, I'm a first-timer for one, but I feel what they feel. I didn't leave the Democratic Party, they left me. The rhinos left the Republican Party, but they've infiltrated the Republican Party, so we want all rhinos out, we want all those Democrat spies hanging around here out. We want people here who care about this country, who want to protect our Constitution, our freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, all these other things, and at the same time, values, Georgia's conservative values. Right. That's almost becoming non-existent. And so there are people, that choir now is getting bigger and bigger and louder, and the left, I'm telling you right now, you get ready to get some right hooks.
Yeah, and I just think people too just feel a sense of they're losing control, and they're seeing various rights in their own lives.
Yeah.
Not just that they hear people talking about on TV, but they're feeling it themselves. Either their social media is being, suppressed, or whatever it may be. People are seeing and feeling, or getting a sense that their rights are being taken away.
Yeah.
And I think people are understanding now more than ever that getting involved locally is the way to get things back under control and back on the right direction, and just common sense values that most Americans share.
Yeah. And see, that's it, but we've been silent.
For so long.
They just haven't been active, like you say. Now they're becoming much more active. They're coming here. They're holding their elected officials accountable. They're holding themselves accountable more than anything else. Now they're saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to rely on somebody else. I'm going to get out myself now. I'm going to get involved. I want to know who stands for what, and I want to support those candidates who want to follow through on their commitment. That's why I had that contract with Georgians about sanctuary carry, or constitutional carry, making sure that we ban CRT. You're not hearing that from the current leadership, but you're hearing that from me. And most people here are connecting with that. That means they're out of touch.
Yeah.
Carolyn, they're just out of touch.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's why we're coming. When I came, and I always say this, I came back to the Granola Party, the party of abolition, the party of Lincoln, Douglas, and many others. I wanted to come back to bring, not just to be a member, but to bring brand new ideas and brand new opportunities and brand new people, growing this party with young people, growing this party with minorities, which Republicans has historically, they've ignored them.
Yes.
But that's where you have your base of conservatives, and the Democrats have literally held them captive because they're saying that Republicans are the boogeyman.
Yeah.
No. They're the biggest, they're the boogeyman, and that's what I'm doing. I'm opening that window, I'm opening that door, and the left is going crazy because I'm taking the message to them.
Yeah, and we've heard multiple times inside the ballroom behind us, that's where all the delegates meet and they vote and all the speeches take place, and we heard multiple times from folks with the GOP that this is the largest convention ever. I mean, you should see the ballroom in there. It is packed to the brim. I mean, they were saying 2,000 to 3,000 people have traveled from all across Georgia to be here. It was impressive to see that many people. So, Vernon, I want to know from your point of view, and I can tell you from mine as well, what you've been talking and shaking hands with people all weekend long. What are the issues that keep coming up over and over? What are the people here? What do they care about? Why are they here? What are you hearing?
The people, we the people, election integrity.
That's
they
number
do not
one.
feel that the current Dominion system is fair, free, and transparent. They do not feel that the leadership of the Republican Party fought for election integrity. They allow Stacey's law to supersede the state law. They're upset about that. And they want a forensic audit, too.
That's right.
They want all 159 counties to go through a forensic audit. If things are fine, look,
Great.
Good and dandy. But if not, and right now nobody is afraid in the Republican leadership, from the governor, lieutenant governor, and even others, to hold that forensic audit.
Yeah.
And you know what? I believe, like many Georgians believe, there's a dead cat on the end of that line. Something's stinking with that election, and we're going to get to the bottom of it.
You know what? When you had that line, you mentioned that quite a bit in your speech. Everybody was up, they were up on their feet and they were cheering, and you could feel it. It was a passion. I mean, and not just you, Jody Hice followed you. And the same thing, when Jody Hice, he's running for Secretary of State.
Yeah.
And when he mentioned the election integrity stuff, and he called out and he had questions about how it's been handled with Raffensperger and the others and Chris Carr, and everyone was up on their feet. And everyone I've been speaking to, they're here because they know something wasn't on the up and up with the election, and they want something done about it. And so I think that's a real problem for the folks who are currently in office. I think they're going to have a lot of thinking to do about how they're going to handle that, because the people here, Republicans in the state of Georgia, are not happy with how things were handled. And I don't know how they're going to make that better.
Well, I'm going to tell you how the people are going to make it better. They're going to elect someone who's not afraid, who's going to take it straight to those rhinos, going to take it straight to the Democrats. There's going to be a new sheriff in town, if you read that old phrase, a new sheriff, but in this case, a new governor, where I am not afraid to call for that forensic audit. I'm not afraid to come out and get rid of that system that has no sense of confidence. See, that's the thing. If people don't trust something, first of all, we're not Venezuela. I mean, we're not those third world countries where Marxism and socialism and all of those things come into play, where the government is manipulating our elections
Yes.
and allowing individuals with these socialist ideas to manipulate our elections. It's hurting us. It's hurting this country.
Yeah.
And so the people of Georgia want change. There's going to be a change. You know what? They don't see. The pundits still do not see the wave of people that were here today, the growth in this convention. That should tell everybody that's the alarm at the gate.
It is.
People are tired and they want change. And those incumbents who cut and ran, they are in trouble. I'm telling you, it's like, almost like they didn't think Donald Trump was going to get elected. Oh, Donald Trump doesn't have a chance. Stacey Abrams does not have a chance in the state of Georgia.
And while we're talking, I'm going to see if Zach can pull up the contract as well eventually here. If you could work on that, Zach, because you had mentioned the contract with Georgia. Okay, we've got it up on screen there. So for those of you who missed it or who aren't here with us in Jekyll Island, Vernon, you announced a big initiative for your campaign this weekend here at the convention, and that is your contract with the people of Georgia. And it's your top 7 things that you're giving your word to the people that you will do if elected, no matter what. That's a risky proposition for you because you're putting your name on it. You're signing it. If you don't follow through, you're going to be held to account. That's how I think we know we can trust you. We can trust it.
Well, I'm stating my case. Here's what I stand for. Here's what I'm going to push for. Now, I think Georgians know that the governor doesn't have a vote, but the governor does have power. And the governor is supposed to have a relationship with that General Assembly to push those initiatives through. I'm going to work hard with the Speaker, the Lieutenant Governor, and all 236 members of the General Assembly, black, white, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. We want to put together something that Georgians can be proud of, all Georgians, helping the small business person, helping rural Georgia, helping those small towns with manufacturing jobs, getting them some opportunities as well. I mean, how can you deny it? And you know, who can be against election integrity, which is on one of my contracts?
Well, that's number one. That's number one on your contract. We've got it up on the screen. And what I found interesting, and you mentioned this in your speech today as well, in that contract, number one, election integrity, it says not only will you call for a statewide forensic audit, but you're also going to immediately form a committee to pursue the replacement of Dominion machines. And when you said that line today in your speech, you got a round of applause. People liked that. It's taken it a step further, saying, we got to have new machines.
Yes. And you know what? You cannot put a price tag on election integrity. And if taxpayers want their money spent on something, they want it spent on election integrity. This is not some pet project.
No.
This is not some road to nowhere.
No.
This is on the election. So yes, forensic audit, and to create a committee that would go out and give us recommendations on how we can replace that system that we have now, but a system that's American-made too, and the data is not housed in some foreign country.
And it's got to be done right. That's not something you rush, right? So it's got to be a committee. It's got to be researched and vetted, and you've got to have experts there. And so that is something I think a lot of people will really appreciate and like, because it's going to be. This is probably one of the most important things you can do.
One of the most important things.
So that's really cool. There's some other items we'll go through real quick. The Georgia First thing, of course. The Second Amendment you mentioned, protect our children. That's the critical race theory and some of these other wild things that are being
Which
taught
is really
in
the
schools.
crazy race theory. It's
it
a
really
crazy
is.
theory.
The Pledge of Allegiance, I thought this was really, I've heard a lot of buzz about this one, Vernon. Pledge of Allegiance, that you would mandate that public schools recite the Pledge of Allegiance every day in schools.
That's important. You know, when I was growing up, and many of us like yourself, that Pledge of Allegiance got our day started. That was our dedication to our country.
It did.
I mean, that got our day started.
Yeah.
And so you were proud to be an American. You were taught to be proud of that flag and what their stars and bars stood for. And it was nothing about burning the flag. It was nothing about this, how horrible this country is. No, this country is not perfect, but we are the best country on the face of this earth. And if you think I'm joking, why is everyone trying to come here?
That's right.
But we cannot allow for this country to be taken apart with communism and racism
Yeah.
and socialism and all those isms that destroy the moral fiber of our country.
Well, that's the one thing that unites all of us. We're all Americans.
Yes.
We pledge to our allegiance to the United States of America. It is a beautiful thing when everybody's feeling
Yes.
that pride.
Yes.
So I love that. And I told you yesterday I was born and raised in Iowa, and I think you are tracking right along with where the pulse of the party is. I know that the governor of Iowa just recently signed into law. She was going to do the same thing. So I think that people are really going to like that. And you have a few other bullet points on there, and the people in Georgia are going to learn more about that. I know you carry that pocket card with you everywhere you go, and you're going to be going to all the counties,
All 159
in
counties
Georgia
are coming there.
to talk about that contract. I will say one other thing. As we're kind of wrapping up the convention, things are slowing down a little bit behind us. How you feeling walking into this? Is kind of the official launch, really, of your campaign.
You know what? There's a spiritual aspect to this. When you look at where our country is going and the hate and the anger,
Yeah.
people are being told, people are burning churches down, and the liberal media is not focusing on it. They're focusing on stuff that doesn't even matter. I mean, just so much is happening. And this is a movement. This is not a regular campaign. This day, the Lord knew this day was going to come, and He's using those of us to carry out His will. And I'm just humble that the Lord has given me the courage and given me the experience, and all the bumps and bruises I've had along the way prepared me for this day and this time. If someone must go, send me, and I'm prepared to go. I'm prepared to fight for the state and fight for this country and fight for families of all colors, young people, seniors, small business people. You know, the person who's making $10 an hour at a retail store, the one who's laying bricks in some of these buildings, that small business guy who has his lawn service. I'm fighting for everybody, and we, for so long, the Republicans haven't had a fight. Democrats are not going to play that race card on me. It doesn't work. I got your number. You may have had some other wrong yo-yos, but now you got the right string. We're fighting, and I feel I'm pumped up. I'm excited. The energy in me is coming through the campaign. It's coming through this state.
Yeah, it really is. And I think you touched on it. It does feel like it's a spiritual aspect to it, because it's kind of that good versus evil. It's not even so much right versus left anymore. It's what's right and what's wrong. We've lost so much of that moral compass. So I think that's an important point to make. I do want to touch on one final thing. I know it's hot under these lights, but we appreciate the time. What did you think? I just want to tell the folks at home, and I'm sure this will come out eventually, but there was a moment. So after your speech, we heard from a couple others, and we heard from Governor Kemp, and there was a moment where a lot of the folks in the hall got up and they booed him, and we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that took place. It was a lot of boos, and it was very audible. What's your reaction to that?
You know, Governor Kemp waited to get here to feel the frustration and the letdown from those who supported him the last time around. I think he understands now that there's nothing he can do that's going to change what he's done. To try to get out here now and try to make up that lost ground is gone. They can't trust him anymore. And it's not about me, and it's not about him, but it's what Georgians feel, what Georgians want to see happen.
I'm going to hand you this. Well, I finished with this one, if you will.
It's what people feel. It's a frustration. They let him know in a very resound way that they don't like his leadership, that he cut and ran, he didn't stand strong. He may have talked like Ron DeSantis, but he governed like Mitt Romney, and they're not going to forget it. When they are angry with you, when voters are angry with you, they do not change their mind. But we've got a day ahead of us. We can't look behind. This is going to be a very spirited campaign, and I'm going to work and earn every vote I can get. But I was obviously touched by the amount of support. And when I heard the AJC call me a second-tier candidate, I bet they're not calling me a second-tier candidate now.
I don't think that they can. I think it's something that you cannot ignore for sure. you had a lot of support.
Yeah.
You had a lot of support, and that you can't ignore that.
And changed a lot of minds. There were
Yeah.
a lot of people that were on the fence. A lot
Yeah.
of people didn't even know me. A lot of people never heard. But today and what we got over the past weekend, it's phenomenal what has happened.
It really is.
And the minority support, I got to say this, no other Republican has gotten the amount of minority support. Even this early before the primary, before I can get into the general election, it shows that they trust me, they know I have a solid record, and that I'm engaging to everybody. No community will be left behind.
Yeah. How can folks get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your campaign and what you're doing and where you're coming? You're going to be visiting most
Yeah.
of Georgia, traveling.
Wow, first of all, I'm coming to all 159 counties, but you can go to jonesforgeorgia.com, and we appreciate your donations. Obviously, you know, we don't have the big establishment behind us, but that $5, that $10, that $15
Goes a
donation
long
certainly
way.
make a difference. But yeah, go to Jones for Georgia, see where we're going to be. A lot of our stuff is already out there, our events. And if you have any questions or you have some advice for me, just email it in to us.
Okay, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck.
you so much.
Thanks for joining
Feel
us.
the burn.
Yeah, hey, feel the burn. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and that'll be a wrap from the convention here in Jekyll Island.